The following program on PBS 39 is made possible in part by...
For nearly 60 years, Arts United has worked to bring the rich, diverse talents of our region together through support of the arts, socially, culturally, and economically. Arts United, providing a home for the arts in Northeast Indiana.
Excellence lives here in Northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
This is Arts Weekly. Arts Weekly is presented by the College of Visual and Performing Arts at IPFW, offering degrees in fine arts, music, theater, and visual communication and design. IPFW, the energy of the arts. Thank you for tuning in to Arts Weekly. I'm Melinda Haines, and later we'll chat with Maestro Robert Nance of the Heartland Chamber Chorale. But we're starting today's show with Jim Gabbard from the IPFW Department of Visual Communication and Design. His photography exhibit featuring the people of Cienfuegos opens in the IPFW Visual Arts Gallery Monday, February 18th. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I am excited to hear more about this exhibit that you are about to have. But before we start talking about the photos, I'd like to talk about who are these people of Cienfuegos, sure, and how did you come to know who they are?
Right. Well, Cienfuegos is located outside Santiago in the Dominican Republic, and IPFW went down there with a team of nursing students, dental students, and last year I went along with the students to interact and document what was being done down there in Cienfuegos. It is located outside Santiago, as I said, and it is a city built after a fire erupted, and the homes were never rebuilt in Santiago. So consequently, they had to relocate. Okay. And basically what they do is they find anywhere they can build a house, and they start building. And the city grew from that.
So did they really found land in or near a trash dump? And
yes, there's a huge trash dump, the main trash dump used for Santiago, and that's visible. In fact, in some of the photos you can see the trash lining the roads near the streets of the city, and so the dump is very, very close to the city. And so it was built very in proximity to that dump.
So they must use a lot of the things that they find there too.
Well, there's a very quite a famous story is that these kids go out to the dump, and they go immediately when the dump truck is about to dump the contents, and they dive into the trash, looking for food or anything that they can possibly sell. And so they go out there and trying to bring something. That the families send their kids out there as little as 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to go out into these dumpsters and try to find food, anything that they can do of value.
So some things that are newer, when the truck comes, it's
Correct.
like, let's see what...
The quicker they get into they want to be in there right after when the truck dumps.
And so there's no electricity either in this area.
Electricity and running water are very scarce in the homes in that area. In fact, the clinic where we worked had no electricity or running water, which is quite an experience for everyone there.
Yeah, it's really hard to imagine living in those conditions.
It is difficult to see on a day-to-day basis. Fortunately, we spent 8 or 9 hours there a day, but we got to go back to Santiago where we could stay in a hotel, which did have running water. We couldn't drink the water, but it still had running water.
So this project that IPFW started to take part in, it's a joint project between the dental students and nursing students?
Nursing students, and then the Barnabas Task Group, which is the organization that was working down there. They got in touch with IPFW and a university down there in Santiago to work with this in Cienfuegos to help the lives of the people down there. So actually, everybody speaks Spanish there. So actually, our nursing and dental students would work with their nursing and dental students, and they would help us translate, our students translate conditions, medical conditions or dental conditions of any of the patients coming there.
And so the task force that you were with, or this group, you were down there for a week
We were down there for a week, yes, yes.
And what was your role in this project?
Well, my role was quite a few things. One of the things that I did was document the patient care, taking care of the patients. Both the dental level was on the first floor. It's a 2-floor clinic, and the nursing was on the 2nd floor, and then there was a pharmacy located. So I would spend my time between floors documenting what our students were doing with the patients.
So documenting them photographically.
Photographically,
right.
yeah, and I did do a little bit of video too. And then a couple days we would go out into the field, and our students would actually go out into the field in Cienfuegos and talk to the people there. And my project grew out of meeting the people in Cienfuegos.
Right. Yeah, so how did you get involved? How did you find out about it and
I
decide you wanted to do it?
heard them speak at my church, and they were talking about the upcoming trip. I actually approached 2 of professors from IPFW and asked them if they would be interested in a student coming down for documenting that, and they thought that would be fabulous. Well, a day later, I thought, well, boy, I would enjoy that trip too. So I actually took a student last year during spring break, and we both worked on this project.
So you've got these photos, and your student has these photos of this place, these people, that is just so hard for us to imagine. I mean, I look at the faces of the people in these, and they are so poignant, and it's so hard to even grasp what they must be going through. I mean, tell me what some of these photos mean to you and what you were thinking when you took them.
I'm extremely proud of the images that I took there for several reasons. First off, I really felt that they brought out the sense of the people, and I still felt there was a lot of pride in the people, even though they were living under terrible conditions, very high unemployment rates, very high HIV rates, very tough conditions down there. But I still felt a sense of pride and dignity, color and beauty in the people, and that's what drew me to taking the photos of the people, or the exhibit titled "The People of Cienfuegos," and the interactions of myself and the people. I couldn't speak Spanish, so I would point to my camera, and then I would point to them, and I would kind of motion if it was okay to take their photo. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting is they had a home with no electricity and water, and before I took the photo, some of them would fix their hair and smooth their dress out, which I thought was very interesting.
So they had some pride,
they did,
in wanting to show off what
there's a photo on the screen or passing through of a woman and 2 kids in front of their home in their doorway, which I thought was one of my favorite photos, and I just love the look on this photo up now. I just love the look on the woman's face and the little child in the back, and she's got a quiet pride, even though conditions are
it's a mother
very
and her
harsh.
2 children.
Correct.
And this is a very woman-centered.
Very few. I saw very few men. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of very much lacking of some male role models. There are some men that are doing a great job down there in trying to build the businesses and build the community who donated the clinic or donated a space where we were able to set up our clinic. So there is some good positive work being done. Very little male role model though in the households.
One of the things too that strikes me is all the color that's in this world in which they inhabit, which they probably don't have any comparison. They don't know maybe that life is easy for them, but they still take that pride in having things colorful or as comfortable.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because when I was getting ready to put this exhibit together, I thought about turning some of them into black and white in some of the images, which I thought would be rather dramatic. But I realized the same thing, that color is so important to them that I left the entire exhibit in color. It just meant so much to them, the bright reds and the bright blues. It just meant so much. There's a photo with a boy in a green shirt and a girl in the background in a red, dirty dress, and the color just caught my eye so much in these images.
Well, and the people here, it really is, life is a daily struggle for them. I mean, the there's really no money. They don't really have many physical things. Probably food is hard to come by.
Food is hard to come by. In fact, at one point we passed out colored straws to the kids, and they thought that was amazing,
like
to have
gold.
a color straw. Yeah. So to them, anything meant a lot.
Is there any education that's going on?
They
in the
do
area?
have a school. They do, and it was it was wonderful to see all the people dressed in the same outfits going to school. So they are trying to do some education. I don't believe it's required very much past a minimal amount, but they are trying to build up the education department. In fact, IPFW is working with them on that too, in terms of the business department in the areas of microfinance, and we're also partnering with their university down there to try to help with the education of the people down there.
Well, and the nursing and dental students
Right.
who went, this has got to really be extremely meaningful to them. I mean, they're providing
Right.
life-saving services.
And I thought that was one of the greatest things about this was watching the students work with these patients. They were wonderful. No running water, no electricity. Our students did a great job down there working under those conditions, not speaking the language, having to have illnesses translated to them and then diagnose them and get them to the right person. They did a great job. It was a wonderful experience for them.
Well, now, do you know how the clinic or the project itself was started? You were saying something about the
Yeah,
Barnabas.
Tom Hinton from the Barnabas Task. He's the one that originated and started this group, and he decided that he basically needed to get some medical attention down there, made some contacts here at IPFW, and it grew from there.
So are there other universities across the country maybe that send groups as well
Yes,
to work?
yeah, there are people that going down there. In fact, I believe we're going down there again soon, and I believe there's another group in that same area doing some different work in a different area of Santiago. And Dominican Republic is on the same island as Haiti, so there's a lot of groups down there going to Haiti too.
Oh, what a wonderful mission that is. That is wonderful. Now, when and where is your People of Cienfuegos going to be exhibited?
Right. It opens February 18th and it's up through March 17th on the campus of IPFW in the Visual Arts Building in the downstairs gallery that we have down there. It's free, open to the public. They can come anytime they want to view the images.
Well, that is going to be a very moving and wonderful exhibit.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
While we get ready for our next segment, please take a minute to view our performance calendar of what's coming up in our area. You also can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll be right back with Maestro Robert Nance from the Heartland Chamber Chorale. We're back with Maestro Robert Nance from the Heartland Chamber Chorale. This Sunday, February 10th, Heartland will be presenting a family concert featuring Mr. Puppet and the Singers of Heartland in the North Campus Auditorium at the University of St. Francis. Maestro, tell us about this concert.
Well, it's going to be fun. I don't know how many, people out there have children that that you would like to maybe take to concerts that you grew up with, that you like to attend, and that's really the focus of this program. Families with young children usually get sequestered every day taking care of their children, which they should do, but they also have artistic interests that cannot be met because of those responsibilities. So we were trying to provide something other than something the lollipop day, like a visit to Chuck E. Cheese or something like that, but a high artistic experience for the adult who is raising young children who might like them to be exposed to good quality arts. And of course we're in a market for choral, good vocal music. And so we wanted to provide a concert that met the needs of the parents, but also introduced children to good quality music. So we planned a program around those two parameters, and so we have this family concert featuring Mr. Puppet. Mr. Puppet is actually more for the adults than it is for the children. We want the children to be exposed to music that the adults are already used to hearing and appreciating. The children are visually stimulated, so Mr. Puppet helps there, and certainly the educational goal of teaching kids what do you do when you go to a concert, that sort of thing, but also keeping their focus during the course of a 70-minute program is a challenge, and Mr. Puppet helps with that.
So does Mr. Puppet, this character is speaking to the children as a part of the musical selections that are performed?
It's more like, hey, this is a puppet who's come to a concert, and hello, boys and girls, you know, what are we doing here today?
Okay.
And
so sort of narrating the concert.
in a sense, but in another, there's Mr. Puppet comes with his own shtick as well.
Yeah.
So he does work with the children a little bit on various things that capture their interest, and so there's a little training, a little entertainment, a little magic sometimes. And then we will do our portion. So sometimes there's give and take. Mr. Puppet's on stage, and then we take the stage. We actually surround him, and he comes on and then goes off for a portion that we might do. And then others, we interact with the children and Mr. Puppet all together. So it really depends on that particular moment in the program. Nothing takes longer than 3.5 to 4 minutes. So that's a pretty decent attention span period for young children. And the music is all high quality. Yeah. So I really think it's a nice mix, and you just kind of have to experience it to really understand it.
And I'm guessing that the songs are ones that are familiar to us.
Well, do you know Zippity Doo Dah?
I do know Zippity
that's
Doo
right.
Dah.
Well, and these really great arrangements of that. We're doing some new music too, which is great for everybody concerned. But new arrangements of very familiar songs if any of us grew up with Mr. Rogers.
Oh, love Mr.
So
Rogers.
the connection there for us is my current teacher now for 12 years has been Mr. Robert Page, who has probably the preeminent conductor for choral and orchestral music, among other things. He's just a great teacher. He's at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. And of course, his long years in Pittsburgh, one of his best friends was Fred Rogers. So they exchanged a lot of musical ideas, many programs he arranged of Mr. Rogers' music. And after Mr. Rogers died, the music that was performed there were some of the arrangements that Dr. Page had done. And that eventually found its way into the Hal Leonard collection via another colleague of mine, Jerry Rubino, who was also one of his students when Dr. Page was teaching at Temple. So there are many familial connections there, collegial connections to Fred Rogers through this program. So we're going to actually do some of those songs that teach everything from self-esteem to tolerance to, all the things that we want our young kids to, all of our children to take with them.
Truly is going to be a wonderful family-centered concert.
It's meant to be family-friendly, but not just for the kids. Right. It's for everybody.
It's for everybody. Now, Heartland Chamber Chorale has a wonderful history here in Fort Wayne. For somebody who might actually not know who you are, there might be a couple. Tell me how it got started and the background.
I'd been working in Fort Wayne as the director of music at First Presbyterian Church since 1990, and in those 7 years as a director of music in a large church setting that frequently hired soloists, I recognized that there was an absence in the artistic fabric of Fort Wayne of professional voices. Every time I would go to a Philharmonic concert or to a major event, those artists were being imported to town, and then of course they were gone. So that was not a resource available here, and I really wanted to start a professional vocal ensemble. And I think over those first 7 or 8 years of living in Fort Wayne, I'd actually made the case for it in my own mind. So in 1997, we got started, and it was very small, but the whole vision was to be a professional vocal ensemble in Northeast Indiana.
So you have these singers who, there must be a audition process. How does one join?
The singers there were singers here who were doing work at a very high quality level, but not at the professional level.
Right.
So it's taken some time to train that group. And yes, there is an audition process, and it's evolved over time. Now it's very much like a job. These singers have always been paid, not enough, but they've been paid, and they are paid professionally, and they are hired to do a job. So there's a whole process from application to annual reviews and continuing to check their vocal abilities and their work. So.
And how many singers do you have? Does it
currently,
fluctuate?
It does fluctuate. Our vision currently is 8 professionals, which would be full-time, 24 contract part-time. Right now we're dealing with simply a contract part-time at 16 at the moment, but we are working to get back up to 24. And then we have our festival chorus, which numbers 70 to 100.
Wow.
And that's community-wide, and those are also auditioned, but there's a process that's slightly different for that.
So you've got quite a series of concerts that goes on throughout the year. You've got some concerts and some private performances and other things. So tell me a little bit about what you've done recently and what you've got coming up.
Well, it all ties into that vision. A professional vocal ensemble is going to have quite a few things in their back pocket that they can do for private performances or special events or in the region, because our market is 225 miles of Fort Wayne, so we do travel.
Right.
The marketplace also demands a certain level of variety. So we have everything from opera to musical theater to a small group, large group. We've done Carmina Burana, we've done Messiah. We are introducing to start off our season next year with a premiere work called The Peacemakers, which is a huge orchestral choral work. So it just depends on what you're looking for. I know that we're going to be featured here on PBS doing our Celtic program in March.
I just heard about that. Tell me about what that is going to involve.
I mean, you know, it's what we've come to expect. Even watching or being a favored watcher of PBS, you know, when we do fund drives and we see Celtic women, it's always that's a stopper for me. It's like, stop doing everything I want to watch. But it's the same kind of thing, because you have professional vocalists who are providing a wide array of arrangements of music from Scotland, Wales, Ireland, and some even into Great Britain. And that whole tradition of singing good quality a cappella and some with instrumental accompaniment is long-standing. So we're doing stuff just like that right here in Fort Wayne at IPFW.
It's going to be aired live too. So
it will be on that Friday, and then we'll repeat it on Sunday.
You've got this Celtic celebration coming up. What other things are coming up?
Right after that, we go into our Broadway Your Way performance, which again brings back our festival chorus, and we've been voting all year long on what people's favorite choruses from their favorite Broadway musical, and the voting is still going on, so we don't really know exactly what's going to go into that program.
And how does somebody vote?
You can go online. You can hit our website at heartlandchorale.org. In fact, if you just Google and type in Heartland Fort Wayne, you'll get our website.
So you can vote.
That's right. And there you can actually take my job and be the music director and decide what choruses. But it depends on the voting.
Right. So. Now, how many?
Don't vote for Wicked, because we've already gotten a billion hits for Wicked. So something from Wicked is going to be on the program, I promise. And Les Miserables, by the way.
Okay, well that's good insider information.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, how many concerts do you perform a year? And do you have a special season, or is it
there is.
year-round?
It's sort of turned into a formula anymore. We have an opening that starts sometime in September, and we end our season first week in June. So there are roughly 10 concerts a year on our subscription series. Some are single performance, others are multiple. Our Christmas season this year ended up being 4 concerts that you could actually attend. But we have 10 concerts, in other words, 10 themed events that we do throughout the year. And then we have a series of maybe as many private performances or specially contracted concerts for us to do. Some are repeaters of what we've done, but others are brand new programs as well. And then we contract the singers to do special performances here and there, and then private concerts.
When you have a home at St. Francis.
Yes, we do.
And so many of your concerts are there, but you go to other
Actually,
venues.
not many.
Oh, really?
Not many, although now with the new Performing Arts Center that St. Francis has, the Old Scottish Rite, we're doing quite a bit more. But our mission is to be a regional ensemble. So we're artists in residence at St. Francis. We actually work with the students there on a regular basis. We do several concerts a year on the campus. But by nature of our vision and our mission, we're out into the community and performing downtown at Performing Arts Center or at Arts United Center.
When you said that you were traveling too outside the area, where have your travels taken you?
As far down as Indianapolis, down at the University of Indianapolis there, Ball State, and we're looking ahead as far as Elkhart and South Bend. That's that way, by the way. Yeah. Elkhart and South Bend, and Goshen, Wabash.
So really, you've
Really,
become a very
225 miles.
regional. You know, that's wonderful. Yeah. So tell me again about the family concert that's coming up, the dates and times, and how to get
February
the tickets.
10th. It's early in the afternoon, 2:30, which is great for it's a Sunday afternoon, so you can have finished your church activities or other morning activities and had some lunch and come over. The program is about 70 minutes. There's no intermission. So very doable for young kids. The environment there on the North Campus Auditorium at St. Francis is very amenable to children, tall, big, small, whatever. There's plenty of room to spread out and to get good interaction with Mr. Puppet and the singers. The concert's February 10th, 2:30 p.m. You can get tickets by calling the Heartland office at 260-436-8080. Or you can order tickets online, simple as can be, heartlandchorale.org.
Well, thank you so much for coming by
great being
today.
here.
And thank you for watching. I'm Melinda Haines with the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. Next time on Arts Weekly, we'll hear about 2 local theater productions, Fort Wayne Civic Theater's The Drowsy Chaperone and First Presbyterian Theater's House of Blue Leaves. For up-to-the-minute arts updates, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And be sure to join us here Thursday evenings at 7:30 on PBS 39. Thank you for watching.
The preceding program on PBS 39 was made possible in part by
Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.